off with federal election fever fast mounting. Just what will the employment law landscape look like when the dust settles? More of the same or a sharp lurch back to the future? Well, I'm joined in studio by Joydeep, Managing Principal at People and Culture Strategies, and David Cross, partner at Norton Australia. Gentlemen, a warm welcome to you both. Let's kick off with what we do know, that is to say the system as we currently find ourselves working under. One key principle that is playing out in this marketplace, principle of good faith bargaining. Is it working? If not, why not? And could it change? Joydeep.
Very controversial introduction under the Fair Work Act. Julia Gillard was put under a fair bit of pressure from business not to force them to actually enter into agreements. She gave that commitment. She said, we'll force you to bargain, but you don't have to agree. What we've seen, a number of high-profile examples of employers who are bargaining and bargaining in good faith, but frustrating the unions because they are bargaining in good faith, but they're just not getting anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if the union movement says, hang on a second, these just don't go far enough, they don't give us what we need these laws to go further.
David, how long is a piece of string, as they say? I mean, it's one of those, unknown knowns, isn't it, that to put a line in the sand and say, agree or pay the price, how inflexible is that? Should the law actually be that sort of unbendable? And could it happen?
It's an interesting idea because defining in law the circumstances in which negotiation should proceed and should progress is an enormously difficult undertaking, as you can imagine. If the pressure exists for the government, the current government re-elected to do that, then the parliamentary drafts people will have their work cut out for them, I think. But it's certainly a possibility. As Joydeep says, the legislation currently identifies what you have to do to bargain in good faith. They're relatively simple indices that people can comply with and still not get anywhere near making an agreement. And if the union movement is impatient with that sort of an outcome, then certainly there'll be pressure on the government to change it.
Is that not going to, though, put more power in the hands, though, of, these not arbitrators, but the people that sit in judgment to make what could be quite subjective calls on a timeline basis? I mean, should we be handing them more authority at this moment in time? Is that right? I mean, to decide if something's working or not, it's a very subjective call.
I think what we've seen from Fair Work Australia so far is a reticence to get too involved too early in the bargaining process between employers and unions. Having said that, the legislative framework is such that they can only go so far at this point in time. I think everyone will be mindful of the reality of the politics that has underpinned Julia Gillard's escalation to the Prime Ministership, and I think in business quarters there will be some level of suspicion around what will be the pressure that's put on her, and I think it's a legitimate concern.
The politics of workplace agreements, this is sort of going back to the future now as a